Bonjour les amis. Do you want to be fluent in French and be able to go on that immersion in Paris or an immersion retreat in France, or simply just go on a trip in France or Paris and be able to immerse yourself in the French language and culture, but you feel that you are a beginner? Or even if you're not really a beginner learning French, you feel like a beginner when it comes to the conversation. Your words don't come fluently, your accent or pronunciation seems to be completely off, and not to start even thinking about grammar, verb conjugation, and things like that. They just don't come when you need them, when you want to feel home and relax and really have a conversation with someone the way that you have in English, in your mother tongue, if English is your mother tongue. So what is missing? I'm Llyane Stanfield, and you are watching French Immersion for Beginners, where I'm sharing with you techniques that nobody else is using. And I'm telling you about these techniques. There are 8 techniques, and today is day 6, so it's going to be technique number 6. And the way to use these techniques, just knowing them doesn't really do much, but use them properly and it's going to make a world of difference in your ability to communicate and to express yourself through French too, even if not exactly like in English yet, but at least so that you can have that relaxation and confidence when you are to speak, when you are in Paris. These videos don't stay on Facebook, they expire, and so if you would like to have unlimited access to all the 8 videos, including the short webinar that I had on last Sunday in my conversation group, please click in the link in the description of this video and ask me to send them to you, to send you the playlist with all these techniques. Technique number 6 is called sense memory. Everybody knows about muscle memory and everybody strives to getting muscle memory, but not many people, if any, are talking about sense memory. Why is that important? So I'm going to tell you first what sense memory is. When you do anything, you are looking to build muscle memory. When you do gym, when you are doing some sports, typically it's talked about in this particular context. Even as a musician, if you play the violin or any other instrument, it's the muscle memory that we relate to, or we rely on, I should say, in order for us to perform fluently. Why is muscle memory is great, but we need to have sense memory in order for us to build the muscle memory, and this is what nobody ever speaks, or rarely do people ever speak about sense memory. What do I mean by that? In order to build muscle memory, we need to have the sense memory. So for instance, when you are doing your violin, for instance, and a lot of people relate to that because you may have tried in childhood, first we feel on the fingers and we memorize what we feel and how it should feel when we get the chords right. And then use that enough times, that sense memory eventually transfers to the muscle memory, and so muscles will know where to go without even actually feeling. Sometimes you probably know violinists have the tips of their fingers numb because of how much they're using. So barely are they even using the sense memory after years of practice. Why is this important? Why am I talking about this? Because as I introduced this video series before, in order for you to get to a place that you've never been, you have to use methods or do things that you've never done. We cannot solve the problem from inside. We cannot find a solution from inside the problem. And so doing the same things over and over again, you're going to get the same results. So if you feel like you've been trying to learn French and you keep learning and relearning and going back to square one and starting over again and all that, that does show you something, that the techniques, the things that you're doing may not be the things that may have been some things that you needed to do up to a certain point, but to get past beyond this point, you need to change methods. You need to change what you're doing. So sense memory is really important for pronunciation. When we pronounce a word the right way and the wrong way, there is something that changes inside of our mouth that tells us whether, what we did. Our ear cannot quite help very well at the beginning. The ear needs training. It needs time to get the training. And so until we train our ear, and we have to practice enough times, and listening is not enough for the ear to get trained. We have to practice as well in order to train our ear with what we are doing. Then until the ear gets trained, we need something else to rely on. And what we can rely on, and it's very reliable, is the tactile sense inside of the mouth. So when, for instance, I correct my clients, my students, and I tell them, well, yeah, that was right. Or, yes, no, now you have to correct this, change it. Oh, no, now it's right. I always tell them you should focus on how it feels in your mouth. I've been living in North America in a second language. English is not my first language. So I've been living in North America in an Anglophone world for 24 years. And to this day, I am very aware of how it feels in my mouth when I'm saying something, some words in a certain way or another way, because there are still some words or sounds that I'm still working on, believe it or not. Now, I'm not only speaking English. Should I have only spoken English for this time, I would not have had any problem. But because I'm speaking more languages, then the mouth has to always adjust to the language. So we have an instrument, and so we have inside of the mouth, we have the tongue, we have the cheeks, we have, the palate, and we have the teeth. And so all this stuff is working, or you're working with it or using them in order to produce the sounds. And it's a very subconscious what you're doing in your mother tongue, but it becomes very real and very active in the present, really like palpable, if you do this in your acquired language, because you have to adjust your mouth, your tongue, you have to change some things in order for the sound to sound right in the other language, which is French in our case, in your case. So sense memory is the one thing that you can always rely. So you always feel what you feel. There's nothing that it's not much you can do about your hearing at the beginning until you get your ear trained. And again, your ear gets trained as you speak. And so you definitely have to have that sense memory going for you until you train your ear. And then the ear is going to help out with what you have said. And actually, this work in tandem, right? Just exactly like when you're learning to play piano or the violin, same thing. You feel and you hear, oh, I've done this, that sounded right. Oh, sounded right because it felt this way, because I've done with my fingers that. It's exactly the same thing. We are an instrument. A foreign language is a performing art, and we have to treat it as such if we want to have real results, quick results, and stable results. So this is the sense memory that I'm talking about. And after using the sense memory enough, then the muscle memory takes over. And it does, and it did take for me as well. I still do have a few, see how I correct myself, I adjust. You should study me. The way that you notice how I'm speaking English is the way, those are things that tell you how you should approach your French, because the pacing and the enunciating, and I'm always doing that. And so I do what I'm doing because that works. So this is the sense memory that I'm talking about, and this is something that you should use in order to make sure that you are helping yourself to do the pronunciation right. And knowing the rules of pronunciation, which I'm going to say 95%, but really in my experience, 99% of people don't know all the rules of pronunciation. Say you did know all the rules of pronunciation is not enough, because you need to practice, and in order to practice them, you need to rely on something. You can't rely on your hearing yet, because you haven't said the words enough to train your ear, and so it's a catch-22. And so to get out of the catch-22, sense memory is what's saving you. So I hope that you enjoyed this. Again, these videos don't stay on Facebook. They will expire. And if you'd like to have full access to the videos, as well as please click on the link in the description of this video. And also, these techniques is what I'm using in the intensive, in Joëlette Intensive. So please come on over and click on that link and just check it out. See if it's for you. See if the results that people are saying that they have and what it says there is something that you'd like to try. Thank you so much for watching. Immerse yourself in the French language to finally become bilingual and reach your dream to be fluent in French. Merci beaucoup et à demain. Au revoir.